What's up, everyone, and welcome to Conference Championship Week of Winning Picks Weekly. My name is John Meleka. I also co-host another podcast, Knicks, Jets, etc. Hit us up for off-season Jets, in-season therapy for the Knicks right now. Kind of tough out here. But here we are, Winning Picks Weekly, Conference Championship. I can't believe there's only 3 real NFL games left in this season. But as always, I'm joined by my boy, my co-host, Greg, also a video producer for Knicks, Jets, etc. What's up, man?
What's going on? Like you said, 3 games left. I can't believe it. We talked about how the first weekend in the playoffs there was a lot of games, but they weren't particularly great. Then we said last week we're gonna get some good games, and I think we had one of the best weekends of football since I can remember, with every game being close, every game coming down to the wire. And I think this weekend, I don't think these are gonna be good games. I think these are going to be
Ooh.
blowouts. I don't think this is going to be close. I think that two teams are pretenders, two teams are for real and contenders. And unfortunately, it's kind of the way people have been talking all season. So we'll get into it. But I think the best weekend of football that we were going to have all season was last weekend. And it was a hell of a weekend.
Well, we deserved it, right? We deserved it after the Super Wild Card flop, sort of say, besides really one game.
Yep.
Last weekend we got what we deserved last week. Usually the AFC championship game, sometimes the NFC championship, but it feels like, especially because the Patriots, right? The last decade or so, it feels like the AFC championship game has always been the Super Bowl, right? It's always been like, Manning, Brady, and that's why people are so
Yep.
excited about the idea of having Allen and Mahomes, because they just were craving that new AFC championship mini Super Bowl. Because last week the AFC game did feel like the Super Bowl all the way to the end. Shout out to the Bills. It sucks because they're about to give a home game, which I know I'm a huge Jets fan, but I got some friends up in Buffalo. That would have been really cool for them, especially. I mean, it would have been more fun for them to lose later. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
the
Nah,
closer
the
it
way
is,
they
the more
lost. As a
heartbreak.
Jets fan, the way they lost was
It was perfect.
perfect. Oh,
Yeah, I
man.
agree. I'm just saying. So, like,
It was
even
awesome.
though I would want to see a game in Buffalo, but, you know, Greg, we're here on Winning Picks Weekly. We're here to talk football, not the football for Egypt, because Egypt is in this Elite Eight in the
Oh,
African Cup of
yeah.
Nations. Represent
Shout
my
out
boy
Mo.
Salah. But actually, what's really interesting here, man, is all of the nonsense, all of the craziness. But we had Kansas City pre-season to make it, and I know you had some features on the Rams, right?
I didn't have any futures on the Rams.
Uh,
I
I'm okay. I remember discussing it because the
you
whole
definitely had the
Stafford,
Chiefs.
yeah, because the whole Stafford, going to LA, and I
I
guess
had
this
Cooper
whole
Cup a lot
trend,
of ways, which was easiest bets in my life.
Cooper Cup, I mean, the savior of last game, and we see the Rams here. The Rams have a chance to play the. It never happened before last year where Tampa had a home Super Bowl, but it was COVID, so the fans weren't even there. So even though it was home and you're comfortable, you're sleeping in your own bed, it's still kind of weird because there was no fans. This time, the Rams not only have a chance at SoFi, which is like one of the coolest stadiums out there, uh, to not only get an NFC Championship game there, but also a chance at the Super Bowl there. Double home games. I mean, does it get any easier? You knocked out Tom Brady, right? You got Jimmy Garoppolo with a shoulder. You got Jimmy Garoppolo with a thumb. You know what they're gonna do. They're injured on defense. They're pulling it together. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're gritty. They're pulling it together. Robbie Gold coming out there, like they're holding Aaron Rodgers, but they're just playing like gritty, disgusting, hold your nose football. And let's just get into this. I know it's the second game because you got to put the Bengals in the first slot. Is what it is.
Yep.
But I feel like the only reason you are saying that you're worried about whether or not this is going to be a good weekend of football is because both of these games seem mediocre. Both of these games you could put in the first slot and you're not going to be upset about it. You know what I mean? You're going to be like, oh, okay. So, but I want to talk about the San Francisco Rams game. It's going to be really interesting, dude. It's the Shanahan versus McVay. It's the Stafford, the whole new thing with keeping it kind of status quo with San Francisco. It's really interesting, dude. Like they brought in these new guys and Von Miller and Odell Beckham a couple weeks ago. Eric Weddle, Eric Weddle is their safety, dude.
Big time
Like
penalty though. Big time idiot play on him.
awful. I mean, he should get more penalties. You know what I mean? There should be more penalties by him. This is a crazy game for me, dude. This is gonna be a tough one. I think this is gonna be a really, really good and close game. So I already, beg to differ from you on this game, especially. I'm personally leaning towards San Francisco here, just because of the hook. What do you got here, man?
I like the Rams. I mean, they played 2 or 3 weeks ago. They played, I don't know if it was week 17 or week 18. Rams were up 2 or 3 touchdowns. 49ers came back, played gritty, and got to the playoffs because I think they ended up winning that game in overtime, if I remember correctly. And I think San Francisco's had their back up against the wall. They've been fighting as hard as they can for weeks now to get in. They're banged up. They're hurt. And I think eventually...
But it's the same hurt. Nothing new happened.
But
Bosa's fine.
You just get more hurt every week, though. Like, Jimmy G's
Warner
finger,
played good.
It was Jimmy G's finger forever. Now it's Jimmy G's shoulder.
Well, he just got
Samuel's foot.
Got off. His shoulder just got off the injury list. Breaking news.
Yeah, but it's still banged up. Deebo Samuel's foot, he's hobbling towards the end of that game last week. I don't know. I just think that it accumulates. And like I said, I think this weekend there's 2 teams that were projected to be here at the beginning of the year, and there were 2 teams that have surprisingly made it this far to some. But even though they've made it this far, if you thought that they were going to make it this far, I think they're at the end of the road. There's 2 beat up. They've outdone their expectations, and I just don't think they have a clear path to winning the game. What are they going to do? What is San Francisco going to do? The only touchdown they had last week is on special teams. You're not going to beat the LA Rams with punt blocks and lucky pick scoop and scores. If they don't scoop and score, I don't know if they score that touchdown. That's how bad the offense was looking last week. So I just think
to play devil's advocate,
easy. I think 3.5 is easy.
Listen, to play devil's advocate on there, the Rams almost lost a 27-3 lead to Tom Brady. And Tom Brady's 100 years old and doesn't have a single player on his team. Like Gronk, I thought was gonna die on that field. I honestly thought.
Yeah. And to go back to that point, though, I think 2 things happen. I think it's completely natural when you get up big up big to let up a little bit. I think great teams don't. I think it's very hard to do. And also, a lot of it. And also, it's Tom Brady.
But here's the difference, dude. Here's the difference. Like, it wasn't Tom Brady though doing much there. Like he didn't throw the game away. He didn't do anything crazy. Yeah. But I guess his presence did change it. I have to just say that his presence changes everything. Yeah. And see last year's Bucks.
Still, though, he put a decent drive together. They should have lost that game if it wasn't Weddle getting the penalty or whatever.
Listen,
on Mike Williams.
It's about closing games. It's about closing games. And San Francisco, look at how San Francisco closed the game. And look at how the Rams closed their game. You know what I mean? It really makes me like Green Bay has good defense. They have a good offense. You know what I mean? They're at home. They had a bye week.
Did they? Do they have a good offense?
They have the MVP.
Is he?
Look, yes, he's literally the MVP. Yes, can he even bet it right now? I'm off the charts.
I'll cash my ticket if he is. But after last week, I think you gotta give it to Pat Mahomes. I know it's regular season, but still.
No, it's a regular season award. Aaron Rodgers was the best quarterback, despite how much everyone hates him, especially in the media that has to vote for him, which is hilarious. He's gonna get it despite all that.
And all the stats coming out about how terrible he is in the playoffs is just disgusting.
He's gonna be fine. Honestly, what's interesting? I think we're off on a bit of a tangent here, but I think Aaron Rodgers wants San Francisco to lose so he can go be the savior. And take them over the hump because he can't beat Green Bay and then go to the Super Bowl and then you go to them. Might be a little too much Kevin Durant, Golden State.
I don't know.
Vibes.
He looks like an idiot for the comments about proving San Francisco wrong.
I know.
So, I don't know. I feel like they kind of have that over him. They're just gonna let him go to Denver or some other team, Pittsburgh or something.
Yeah, if he goes to Denver, the Jets are at Denver next year. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
My whole thing comes down to closing games, and everybody wants the Rams. The Rams are the sexy team. I think they were a team of opportunity last week. I told you pregame how bad the Tampa offensive line is. They were talk about beat up, and then that's the literal strength of the Rams to just ram through no pun intended, that
Mhm.
offensive line because their secondary stinks. Like Jalen Ramsey's also giving stuff up. Like he's not an angel out there. I know he has a great name, but that secondary is so bad. And they have Eric Weddle, who again penalties. You saw what happened to the Cowboys. You saw what happened to San Francisco, like with the
Yep.
penalties. So it's all about for me. The hook is huge for me, especially coming off both of those games and how they closed. And I think it's going to be a really good game. You don't think it's going to be close? You think it's going to be San Francisco Rams easy, both halves?
Yeah, I think 14 points maybe. Just Rams just coast. It might get a little close or something like that, but I don't think it's ever. I don't know. San Francisco might get the lead in the first half, but I don't know, man. Like, what do you do? Like, like I said, you played them 3 weeks ago. You played them towards the end of the season when you both had to win. You were up 2 or 3 touchdowns. They did the same thing. The Rams did the same thing. The Rams have done it a couple times throughout the year. They get up 2 or 3 touchdowns, and then just in the third and fourth quarter, they just let teams come back. So they let San Francisco come back in week 17 or 18, whenever they played. They let Tampa Bay come back last week. To your point about closing out the games, at some point you just gotta grow up and realize the game's not over. Like you have to play hard. You have to don't do the prevent defense. Don't do the whatever Todd Bowles was doing with the all-out blitz late in the game last week and just giving up touchdowns
Music to
or
my ears. Todd
70-yard
Bowles,
plays.
Matt
Like what an
Rule,
idiot
all
he
that
is.
stuff is music to my
So
ears.
I think Todd McVay is going to realize that. I think he's going to close out this game better. I think the whole team is going to close out this game better. So, I just don't think San Francisco has enough. Like I said, they're beat up. Greg Kittle is good, but who's going to throw him the ball? Debo Samuel is good, but who's going to block for him?
They have an offensive line.
These don't have too many guys.
Their offensive line's good.
Trent
I
Williams
think
is
it's going to be a
good.
field goal game. Stafford's going to have come down the field at the end, get the field goal for my boy Gay out here, who's murdering. It's going to be Gold versus Gay. I'm going to take field goal props.
Yeah, that's a
Honestly, in
good
this
bet.
game, I really do. I like over 3.5 field goals here. Anytime touchdown score, Debo Samuel at -105. That's not bad. Kittle's at +155. That's okay. On the other hand, we got Odell at +135. I wouldn't even take Cooper Kupp. -150 is ridiculous for anytime touchdown.
Yeah,
I would just stay away. But Van Jefferson's +260. So
it's not
that's
bad.
not a bad look. Yeah,
What's Higbee? You got it in front of you. What's Higbee?
+210.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
Yeah, but that's pretty much it. There is a Stafford +850. I'm really starting to like the quarterback run-ins in the playoffs. They really do tend to run in. I don't know if that's just some recency bias for me for the last couple games,
All last
but
weekend, I was taking the quarterback over rushing, and they were doing okay, except for I think San Francisco Green Bay was the only game where they didn't have any. But like
whether
the Bills Chiefs one, that was over in the first half. I mean, it's do or die. That's what someone said last week, and I kind of agree with it. That's why I bet it. The rushing and the rushing touchdowns for quarterbacks. This is it, man. If you don't win this week, there's no more next week. So, especially for some of these quarterbacks, man, like they have a lot to. Everyone but Pat Mahomes and maybe Joe Burrow. So maybe the NFC side. Matt Stafford and Jimmy G. You're getting to the point where it's like if you don't win now, when are you gonna win?
yeah, I agree.
So,
And speaking of, I don't think that's the case in this game. I think we're really going for dynasty here in the first game with Kansas City at home versus Cincinnati team. You talk about back to the wall and gritty. Dude, Joe Burrow got his butt kicked last week. 9 sacks, dude. And you win the game. Like, and he's just with all his swag, like he's just the man. I love Joe Burrow. I've said it for years. He's the man.
He's why the quarterback is the most important position in all of sports, because of guys like him, because of guys like Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes that could completely change a franchise, not with his physical skills, but with his mindset and his mentality and his way he approaches the game. It's unbelievable to see. Shout out to Cincinnati for drafting him. I hope the Jets
First
got
pick.
someone like that with Zach Wilson. We'll see.
Well, it's just all we got is hopes and prayers right now.
That's all we got.
And I think some hopes and prayers are needed when you bet this game, man, because we see the line moving at 7.5 as the average for all sports books right now. FanDuel, which is one of the most popular New York books right now, where sports gambling is legal and we're hyped, is still at 7. So you can still catch it at 7, but it's about 7.5. The 7.5 scares me because it opened at 6.5. So that's a full point. And it looks like it's 85% of the money on Cincinnati, but 65% of the bets on Kansas City. What am I missing here, dude? What's going on?
I mean, personally, I think this is as clear as day. I don't know if I'm missing something, but the reason why it's 65% or it moved from 6.5 to 7.5, and yet 80% of the money is on Cincinnati, is because Vegas wants you to bet on Cincinnati.
Yeah,
They're just like,
exactly.
dude, keep doing it. Like we'll make it 8, we'll make it 9. We don't care because the Chiefs are gonna kill this team.
This is
They
gonna be so bad.
they played 2 weeks ago. Tyreek, or they played again 2 or 3 weeks ago. I think it was week 18, towards the end of the season. Tyreek Hill was banged up, really wasn't playing in that game. I think came out in the second or third quarter, and they lost on a last-second field goal by Cincinnati. The Chiefs are back as if they've as best as they've ever been in the last few weeks on offense. Their defense is scaring me a little bit because I think when they were doing pretty well in the regular season, their defense was playing well. I haven't seen that really lately for the Chiefs in the playoffs, so a little concerned about that. But that's what I see when I see these line movements, when I see this money, that's all this money on the Bengals. That's just public. That's just Joe Public being Joe Public. That's someone that thinks they got something. I think this is, again, a 14-21 point game. I don't think this is close. I think the Chiefs win this easy, move on to the Super Bowl. We have the Rams and Chiefs, just like a lot of people predicted in the beginning of the season, facing off in the Super Bowl.
You know, it's really interesting, Greg, because if you feel that way and you are so confident in the Rams and the Chiefs bets as you are, I would jump into FanDuel right now and bet Kansas City -2.5 against the Rams in the look ahead for the Super Bowl. Because if it's 2.5 now and the Kansas City Chiefs, absolutely kill the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Rams and the 49ers is close because they're a division team, remember.
Yeah.
They're a division game, dude. Like, it's a field goal is very plausible there. And the San Francisco winning isn't bad too. I'm gonna take some. I'm gonna take some
Did San
some
Francisco
bands
beat
on the
the
other
Rams
side there.
twice this year?
It's a great question.
Because it's tough to beat a team 3 times. I've heard that most of my adult life.
I mean, we do know. Well, San Francisco beat them in overtime January 9th, 27-24 field goal game. And they beat them November 15, 31-10. Listen,
Rams.
I don't know. There's certain
Rams.
teams that Kyle Shanahan owns. There's certain coaches that Kyle Shanahan owns. Aaron Rodgers can't beat Kyle Shanahan. LaFleur.
Aaron Rodgers
maybe
can't
McVay
beat
can't
anyone.
either.
Aaron Rodgers can't beat anyone at home.
I think it's LaFleur. I think
it's Aaron Rodgers. He's just not good in the playoffs.
He's the MVP.
In the regular season, what does that matter? Sean Payton's a great coach in the regular season. He sucks in the playoffs, and now he's fucking out in New Orleans.
He's so made for the Cowboys. I can't wait
sucks.
to the Cowboys. He's a Cowboys coach in 2 years.
Which is a perfect place for him because they suck in the playoffs too. It's a match made in heaven. They're gonna win every division for 10 years, and they're gonna lose in the first or second round, just like the Packers have done. The Packers have gone 13-3 or 13-4 every year for the last 3 years, and they always lose in the playoffs at home. The frozen tundra this, the frozen tundra that.
Well, they have
Apparently
McCarthy and
Packers don't like to
LaFleur.
play.
They just can't. LaFleur can't beat Shanahan, and I don't think McVay can either.
But neither could Mike McCarthy.
Exactly.
Because the constant there is Aaron Rodgers. He just chokes. He just throws the ball to 1 or 2 guys. He gets 2. I don't know what they do, but
it's an MVP, bro. It's a coach.
He sucks.
It's a coach.
He went from scoring 30 points a game to 10.
You're crazy. You're crazy.
They scored on the opening drive and didn't score the rest of the game. What's crazy about that?
The coach thinks
the Jets could do that.
No, I think Shanahan really owns LaFleur. And I think he's going to own – I think he owns McVay. And I think it's going to be – dude, I'm not going to be shocked at all if San Francisco wins that game. But anyway, I think it's Kansas City's the easiest. Really?
I'll be shocked. Dude, the Rams have so many good players on their team. San Francisco has 3 good guys on defense, 3 good guys on offense, maybe, and they're banged up. They're hurt.
The fact that you can't fathom – the San Francisco 49ers beating the Rams makes me love the 49ers more and more with every dying minute. I'm not even joking.
It's insane. What are they going to do? Deebo Samuel throw the ball over people again like they did the last time they played? No, they're going to be ready for it.
All right, when was their last impressive game? Like, was last week impressive?
49ers?
No, the Rams. Was last week impressive versus the Bucks? They won 30-27. Really was not that impressive. They almost lost that game. They absolutely killed the Cardinals, and they kind of almost like ruined the whole team, right? They almost canceled them. The week before that, they lost overtime to the 49ers, a huge game, right? Like, that was a huge game for both of them. Like, they played it like a playoff game.
Yep.
It wasn't just like a fluke. Ravens stink. They beat them by 1. They beat the Vikings by a touchdown, beat the Seahawks by 10. Again, Cardinals by a touchdown, killed the Jaguars, lost to the Packers, again, lost to the 49ers. I mean, there's nothing impressive here. Lost to the Titans, beat the Texans. Like, what are you so impressed about? Beat the Lions, beat the Giants, beat the Seahawks. This schedule is ridiculous now that I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
Lost to the Cardinals. Honest to God, this is looking easier and easier like San Francisco, especially because the whole narrative. I love Stafford. But the team that we said no one wants to play all year, especially in the last couple of weeks, was San Francisco. Every week, every year, we say defense wins championships. They play winning football. Honestly, the Rams. You think Eric Weddle is going to be the starting safety in the Super Bowl this year?
Yes, because his team is unbelievable. Because he has Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, Odell Beckham, Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford.
I'm thinking
Von Miller looks like he's like 25 again. Von Miller's out here wrecking games again.
I think I'm going to take the San Francisco money line. And I'm also going to take Kansas City.
Good, but don't when San Francisco loses by 2 touchdowns, don't come crying to me. I told you the Bills were going to lose.
I got
that
you.
game was never in doubt.
I wasn't against you there.
Anyone that says otherwise is ridiculous. Bills played their Super Bowl against the Patriots, and they were never in it against the Chiefs.
I was with you there. I got the Titans wrong, which is annoying because they should have won that game. I can't believe they sacked Burrow 9 times, and Vrabel's a moron going for 2. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I can't stand coaches doing this crap. And then tell me,
you were talking up Vrabel like he was coach of the year, possible.
I mean, he's winning with Tannehill. Look what he's winning with. Do you Tannehill? Look at that.
Tannehill had a game. Tannehill did not help my top 15 quarterback argument in that game.
Yo, he's not a top 27 quarterback, bro. Oh my God, that was so bad. That was so bad. But yeah, that wraps it up, dude. It's supposed to be the best weekend of football.
One last thing I want to talk about because of San Francisco. So last week was San Francisco. I took San Francisco because I was like, it's a 6-point game. They're not. I thought it was ridiculous that San Francisco and Green Bay was the biggest spread of the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's more? Do you think the line being 3.5 is more accurate this week? Like, do you think that the Rams are worse than Green Bay was last week? Like, you get what I'm trying to say? Like, if the San Francisco 49ers versus the Rams is 3.5, but then last week San Francisco 49ers versus Green Bay Packers was 6, to me that indicates, because San Francisco is the constant, that Green Bay is better than the Rams.
Well, you have to factor in...
Or is San Francisco just better than what Vegas thought? Which is...
Well, you have to factor in the bye week for Green Bay, and it was at home off a tough game for San Francisco last week. Plus, they had the whole, like, it's Lambeau Field and there's snow coming down. It's going to be cold. Like, as if, like, Aaron Rodgers...
But Vegas knows all that. Vegas knows that that's a BS argument. That's
what I'm saying. That's all built in. That's what I'm saying. That's why that number's inflated. Because everyone wants to bet on Green Bay. That's everyone's Super Bowl pick.
Gotcha.
It's Aaron Rodgers last year. Lambeau Field. They're off a bye week.
Like
this is supposed to be their win.
It's like what the people are doing for Cincinnati this week. Everyone wants to bet Cincinnati, so we'll make it 7.5 points, so it'll be
yeah, exactly.
To bet them.
Everybody wants Cincinnati because Joe Burrow, he's the man. He got the grit. He got sacked 9 times. Still won the game. He's got Jamar Chase, who said that Les Miles said he can't be a wide receiver this week. Like, everything is perfect, but you know what they don't have? An offensive line still. You know what the Chiefs do have?
Or defense.
People that are good. Yeah, especially they're good off no blitz. And guess who's coming back hungry? The Honey Badger. They did all that last week without the Honey Badger, which honestly makes it a lock that they're going to win Super Bowl, to be honest with you. This is going to be their 2 out of 3. They missed it last year, but it's fine. Not a big deal. They're always in the running. As long as you're always in the conversation, you're always in the Final Four, you're fine. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I can't wait to see what Jackson Mahomes does on Twitter.
Well, it's so funny you mentioned that because I'm going to give you a little bit of breaking news. I don't know if you heard this yet. I just saw this article about how. Actually, let me give you this a little trivia.
Okay.
Which player? Because I don't want to say the position, I might give it away. Which player free agent this year do you think is now rumored to go to the Chiefs next year because of your boy Jackson Mahomes?
Upcoming free agent or
upcoming free agent because your boy Jackson Mahomes.
When you say because of Jackson Mahomes, I think of Juju Smith-Schuster.
Let's go! Yeah, they're gonna do a little. I knew I gave it away, so it's gonna be the little Juju Jackson Mahomes connection out in Kansas City. You excited for that?
I'm mad because I traded Juju to you in Dynasty. If that is the case, because he's gonna kill it out in Kansas City. He's like 19. Hilarious. That's my favorite thing about Juju Smith-Schuster is he's like 19 years old. Like, it's unbelievable.
I know.
He's been in the league for 5 years.
He was after Sam Darnold. Like, it makes no sense.
Makes no sense. He might be younger than Jackson Mahomes. It's unbelievable. Shout out Juju Smith-Schuster. Hope he gets on a good team next year.
Kansas City Chiefs.
Bet on himself, and who knows if it paid out. I guess we'll see.
The Jets are playing at Pittsburgh, though.
Speaking of betting on yourself, though, while we're here, bet on yourself this weekend and let us know what you are taking. Knicks, Jets, etc. is the head podcast. Check us out. All social media platforms on the YouTube for sure. We're a channel on there, so follow us, like, subscribe, all that stuff. And then reach us out on Twitter. Winning the letter P Weekly, Winning Picks Weekly. That's us. We're there. We're interacting. We're having fun. We're going to be gambling for sure. And before you know it, NBA season, man. We're talking NBA all the time. We're gonna be getting some episodes out. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But while we got football, we're focusing on football. 3 games left, 2 this weekend. Are they gonna be good? I guess we gotta tune in to find out.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of the NBA, I think we might have to start going live at the end of these games because you've been doing some live betting at the end of NBA games that could be interesting. I mean, I took the Knicks at plus 23.5 today. They lost by 14. I mean, we're killing it out here, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we might switch it up a little bit of the format for the NBA. So
yeah, we'll figure it out.
See what happens there. But yeah, dude, enjoy your championship weekends. And you got a week off, or we just get up. There is a Senior Bowl, so that'll be fun. But especially as Jets fans, but we'll just be mourning the Sunday game. And we'll have a prop episode. We'll have a Super Bowl episode. It'll be a good time.
We'll talk Gatorade. We'll talk coin flip.
Oh no!
Yeah, if you don't know already, you always bet the over on the national anthem. I mean, we'll get into all that stuff. Don't you worry.
All right. Let's go Jets, baby. Let's go.